Hi, my name is Noma and I'm recording from Johannesburg, South Africa. So this is the first episode for this year for my knitting podcast, and I'm so excited to be sharing quite a number of items with you. So it's been a while since I last recorded. Well, I just needed the break and I was taking a break from a whole lot of things, including writing patterns, testing and doing other things. So I'm finally back and I'll just be recording more often, hopefully. So I've got a lot of stuff to show you that's been done already, and a couple of things that I launched between the last podcast and today. And then there's a whole lot of works in progress, and I'll also be sharing my future plans with you in terms of the items I'll be designing for spring and for summer as well. And then I think I'll also show you a couple of things that I've acquired, but first of all I'll talk about what I'm wearing. And it's going to be a quick one because I've spoken about this so many times in previous videos. So this is the Nandi top. So for those of you who do not know, here in the southern hemisphere we're in the middle of summer and it's quite hot, and I've got the lights right here, so it's even warmer in the house than it is outside probably. Our temperatures today, I think it's around 26 degrees Celsius, and I think that's about 78.8 Fahrenheit. I just had to quickly Google that before I started this video. So it's quite warm today, and it's been like that for a number of days. And I'm wearing the summer top. The Nandi top is one of the patterns I launched last year for 2023 summer, and it's a circular yoke top, and the initial one that I did, the Nandi pullover, was worked in fingering weight yarn, and the neck was some rolled reverse stockinette instead of ribbing. And this one is DK weight nurturing fibers eco cotton in the color vanilla, and it's a very easy and quick one to knit, and it's so nice to wear even in these temperatures like 26. It's still something I can comfortably wear and not feel hot, because somehow this cotton material feels really cool to the touch, or even when you're wearing it when it's this warm. So it's a very cool fabric, and the top is a very easy one to work. It's worked from the top down with a circular yoke, and the body is stockinette stitch all the way down with some ripping at the bottom. So that's the Nandi top. And the Nandi pullover, I'll also put up a picture of it, is also worked from the top down with a circular yoke, and instead of the ripping, the edges are rolled. So yeah, that's all on what I'm wearing today. So I'll also talk about the few items that I launched between my last video and today. Probably I'm not going to talk about all of them, but at least I'll just try to talk about 3 or so that the video doesn't end up getting too long. So the first one I'll talk about is the Bukiwe Shawl. It's a one skein shawl. Okay, I think before I talk about all the details, a quick disclaimer. Most of the projects that I'll be sharing with you today are made from sponsored yarn, because in 2022 I destashed and sold all the yarn that I had bought for myself. So I was only left with the yarn that I had been given by other companies over the years. So the oldest project, I think the oldest yarn that I've got here that was sponsored was probably from 2018. So it's some really old yarn, and I think there's only one that's current, that's from late last year, but most of the yarns are really old. So I had to focus on working on those and finishing up all those yarns first before buying any new stuff. So most of the projects that I'll be showing you here are made up of sponsored yarn, mainly Purl, Soho, Kokon yarns, and there's the yarn collective one that I got from Love Knitting. So yeah, and there's the Cowgirl blues, but otherwise all the African expression yarns and the Katia concept I bought for myself. So just in case I forget to mention where I got the yarn from, I just wanted to start off with that disclaimer. So this is the Bukiwe Shawl. It's a one skein shawl, and it's worked from one tip. You increase to the center and then decrease all the way to the other tip. So it's quite a fun one to knit and to wear. It's got this simple lace pattern, and I decided to add these garter stitch stripes just to make it more interesting and not just to have a sea of lace. So I do design with lace every once in a while, but my struggle is always trying to make it look as modern as possible, because I've noticed that sometimes when I knit lace it looks very traditional, and I like my knits to be more contemporary and really fit in with the current culture and the fashion of the day, which can be challenging if you want to use certain techniques. So for this one I just added these garter stripes, and they somehow made it more modern, I hope. So this is the Bukiwe Shawl, and it looks like this. I don't want to disturb my mic, but you can just wear it like this and tie it at the back if you want, or you can wear it at the back and tie it at the front if you want to tie it, or just let it hang at the front. So sorry I couldn't wear it properly because of the mic. I don't want to create some unsavory sounds. So this is the wrong side. The wrong side also looks very good. You can actually wear it on the side as well. So the trick with this type of shawl, so I've done a video on one skein shawls before, but I'll just talk about how to maximize your yarn usage. So the trick with this one is to work until you are at around 50 something grams. Let's say you're working with 100 grams skein, is to work maybe until you've got definitely you have to be left with over 50 grams, so that you can be sure that the second half is going to be completed. So first weigh your skein, because it may not necessarily be 100 grams, it could be slightly more or slightly less. So just work on it, and then make sure that you've got more than half of the yarn left, and then work the second half. You will still have some leftovers. This is how much I had left when I was done with this project. So I was using Good Wool by Purl Soho, and the color is driftwood gray. So it's a very beautiful color. It looks brownish gray. It's a very nice one, really. And I noticed something so exciting about this. I don't know, I think I worked on this project just after doing a lot of cotton yarns and stuff, and it was such a great yarn to knit with. I honestly haven't enjoyed working with some yarn as much as I did with this. So this feels like a sport weight, or maybe a light decay, but it was so much fun to knit with, and I enjoyed it so much. It's very toothy and very rustic, and initially I blocked this on some lukewarm water, and it didn't really look so great. And then when it was dry, I used it a couple of times, and then I blocked it in very hot water, and it bloomed, and it looks great, and the lace opened up. So it was really great to use some hot water instead of really cold water on this one. It made a huge difference after blocking it. So I know a lot of people are scared of using some very hot water, and it's understandable. I mean, after knitting a project, you don't want it to felt, but I've done it quite a lot with most of my projects, and it works just fine. So, well, ultimately it's best to do what you're comfortable with, but I've learned that blocking with some very hot water really works very well for me. And then the other project that I launched was the Kroeger Wrap. So this one is too big, I won't be able to show all of it. I'll just insert a photo. So this is the Kruger Wrap, 24 mini skeins and one main color. So it's this long. It's actually more than 70 inches. So this was such a fun one to knit. As you can imagine, it starts with the center triangle. You work the triangle down to the bottom until you reach the size that you actually want. And then I started working on these strips in the bias, on these rushed pieces, on the rushed strips. So I started here with color number 12 out of the 24 skeins, because I wanted number 1 to be right at the end. So this is color number 1, but since I was working from this point, I started with color number 12, and I worked all the way to the end. And then I picked up the stitches that had been on hold for the side of the triangle, and I did color number 13 to number 24. So I think this would also work if you've got maybe two identical sets of 12 12 mini skeins instead. So you can start with maybe color 12 and work out, and then start with color number 12 on the side and work to the other end. Or you can even use some scrap yarns, because this only requires, I think, about 13 grams of fingering weight yarn. So if maybe you've got about 20 or 30 grams, you can just have one color that you will knit the side and another one that you will do the side if you want it to be identical on both sides. Or you can just use different colors as this set that I had here. So the other important thing that I want to say is that you don't necessarily have to use advent sets for this type of project. You can literally use your scrap yarns from other projects, and you just need about 13 grams of each color and you'll be fine, and you can actually knit your project with this. And then the next, so this is available on Ravelry and Etsy, and the main color, I had forgotten to mention, you need about 140 grams, so it takes quite a bit of the main color, because you have to work this entire triangle, and the main color also features here on the bands between the colors as you work the rushed pattern. So the next item that I'll talk, okay, this is the last one from all the items that have been published. So the last one I'll talk about is the battered popcorn pullover. So, well, I started working on this one in 2019. I think it was early 2019. And then at the time I was pregnant, and I just developed this dislike for speckled yarns. You know, the weird things that pregnancy does. I only wanted to work on solid colors, and I just wanted the browns and the grays at the time, because I was struggling with motion sickness. So anything else that a bit of some color or that was too bright was really messing up around with me. So I only wanted to work with solid colors. So I put this on hold, and somehow I kept passing it on for new and more exciting projects, and I never really got to get back to this until late last year. I finished it, tested it, and put it out. It's really one of my favorite pullovers. So I'll just insert a photo because it's so difficult to show it here. But one of the features that I like is the back. So the hem at the back is much longer and it's circular in shape. So when you're looking at it from the front, it looks like this. The back hem is about 2 inches longer than the front, and the front is just straight whilst the back is curvy. And then there's the pocket as well. That's at the front. That gives it this very casual vibe, because I wanted it to be a more casual sweater that you can just put on with jeans or leggings or some informal pants or skirt, whatever you want to wear it with, and even over a dress. So it's the whole point was to make some very casual informal garment. So the other interesting feature that I liked, that I enjoyed working on, was this. Let me try to bring it up close. It was this crocheted edging. So before picking up the stitches, I did this crocheted edging, and then I picked up the stitches from there. So it's the same with the neckline and the hem and the pockets. Oh, not pockets, pocket. So I wanted to just give it this very clean finish, because there was a lot of picking up and I didn't want it to look all raggedy. So it looks really neat and beautiful. So it's one of my favorite features. So I worked on this pullover with, I think I bought this yarn in 2018. It's been such a long time. I was using Miss Lamotte Merino singles, and the color is battered popcorn, and that's what I named the pullover after, because I loved the name of the yarn. And then the cuffs and all the ribbing in the garment, are made with the color Turtle Dove. So I didn't want to use this color as well on the edging because I felt it was going to be too busy. So the gray is still, you can still see it here on the color of the pullover, and you have it on the cuff, so it just picks up on this, and the two really blend very well. So that is quite a nice feature that I liked about the two yarn options. So this pattern is also available on Ravelry and Etsy. So on this one I used 3.75 millimeter needles, and I forgot to mention that it's worked sideways. So you work from one end, the front and the back are worked separately. You work from one end, from this point you increase for the sleeves, and then you cast on some stitches, and then here I had to also do the back and do some increases to shape the back, and you do the opposite on the side, and you do the same on the side, and you bind off here at this point, and that's the same for the front, and then it is seamed. So you know, I noticed something quite interesting when I was looking at this, and every time I wear it, you know, as much as most of us as knitters, and I'm one of those people, do not like seaming garments, you know, there is something extra special about a seamed garment. I mean, I've tried to compare and look at all the seamless pieces that I knit, but the seamed garments just have this amazing structure and fit that you'll not find in the seamless. I mean, they do have their advantage as well, and that's what I mostly design myself, but there's something extra special about the seamed pieces, and I think every once in a while it's good to just knit one or two, and they are most likely to last for a very long time and still look good. So this is the battered popcorn pullover. So those are all the pieces that I have already launched. And then now I'll just talk about something that's coming next week. This is the Lufuno Scarf. So the Lufuno Scarf is named after the Lufuno hat. I did a Lufuno hat I think that was 2021 or 2022. I'm not so sure. I'll have to cross check. So I did that pattern initially for the Bare Naked Wools fundraiser, the Red Scarf fundraiser. So it's now available as an individual pattern though. So I also did this little scarf because I love these cables. So I just had a single skein of this yarn, and this is Kokon yarns, DK Merino, and the color is Night. It's a very dark brown, but it's got this very interesting speckle. So if you look closely, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but it's got this lighter brown speckle that gives the cables a very interesting dimension. So this starts at the point here, and you work increases until all the stitches are done for the cable pattern and the I-cord edge, and then it's worked straight until you get to the point where you're done with your scarf, and you do the decreases and end with the point. So with this one you also need to do the same. So after doing this section, the increase section, I weighed the yarn to see how much I had used for this. I think I had used about maybe 10 to 14 grams. I don't remember the exact number. So when I was working on the middle section, I knew that I wanted to leave at least maybe about 15 grams or so I could finish this section without really any struggles. So it's a fun one to knit. This is just a one skein scarf, and this is DK weight yarn. So it's a quick and easy one to knit, and it's really fun to wear as well. I'll also put in some photos where I'm wearing the scarf. So I only had this much yarn left. So it's also a very economical way to use some DK weight yarn. So it's already been tested, and some testers really used solid colors like I did here, and there are some that used speckled or tonal yarns, and the cables still look great. So don't shy away from trying them, because you don't have maybe some single skein of DK lying around. Even with more speckled yarns, the cables still pop and come out, and they look great. The other finished item is this pair of socks. So these are the Luvan's socks. So I've done the Luvan's pullover and the Luvan's hat. So this is a color pattern worked from the cuff down with this checkered pattern and some zigzag at the top. I used a short row heel. That's generally what I mostly prefer when I'm working on colorwork socks, because I don't want to break the pattern with heel flap and gusset. So this is what I normally prefer, so that the pattern is continuous. So I had planned to launch the second book on the Monday to Friday socks. I did the first one in 2022, so I had hoped to do another one last year, but I was so exhausted towards the end of the year. I tried to cast on some other socks. I did a little bit on the Bukiwe socks, but the pattern writing was going to be a nightmare, because for other sizes you had to keep on shifting some stitches from one needle to the next, so you could do the increases or decreases on the lace. So it was a bit tedious, and I figured that, you know what, I want to make sure that the ebook has got some really user-friendly patterns for all skill levels. It shouldn't really feel so tedious to knit a pair of socks. So I decided to frog that one and start another one, but I wasn't liking the idea, so it kind of felt rushed at the time, and I decided not to proceed with it and just put it aside. I'll probably work on those this year and have them out maybe in September or beginning of October, but the first pair is done. So I'll see, maybe in between the other big projects I can be working on the other socks. I'll see how it's going to go. And then the next item is a pullover. Okay, so this one is a bit dirty on the neck because I was wearing it and it got some makeup on. Please don't mind the neckline. So this new one, it still doesn't have a name. I'm almost done writing it, and it's going to be coming out soon. So this one will be coming out as a free pattern. It's just a gift from me to all of you. It's a simple drop shoulder pattern, and the sleeves are a bit wider, and unfortunately very wonky right now because it wasn't really well folded. It's something that I was wearing and I just took it off and I brought it here. I was wearing it late last night because it was a bit chilly. Yeah, so this is the pullover. It's got 2x2 ribbing. So I just wanted to design something that was very simple and basic, so that you could just punch in your own ideas if you want. Like I said, it's going to be a free pattern, and you can easily just add some cables maybe at the center here and just work it in stockinette stitch or in the same gutter stripe pattern, or you can just do a plain stockinette one. So it's just a basic pattern that you can actually, you know, customize and play around with. So this pullover was inspired by this store-bought top I've had for years, and it's really getting old. So I wanted this navy and off-white stripe, and then I didn't want to do it in stockinette stitch because I was already using the same as inspiration for a different design, but this is a work in progress, so I'll talk about it afterwards. So I wanted to do something that was navy and off-white, and I was given this yarn by Purl Soho. When was it, 2022, or was it early last year? I don't remember, but this is the yarn Plenty by Purl Soho, and the color is night blue and heirloom white. So I decided to actually make something in these colors because I really loved it. Initially I wanted to do it in broken rib, so I started working on it. I'll insert a little photo there, but somehow I just didn't like the way it looked, and the loftiness of the yarn was making the broken rib look, it didn't really pop out and look as crisp. So I decided to do it in garter stitch so that I could maximize on the actual quality of the yarn, and it looked so plump and squishy and so comfortable. So the sleeves are actually a bit on the wide side, and they've got these tight cuffs, and the pullover looks like this. It's the warmest piece in my wardrobe at the moment, in my hand knitted wardrobe. And the good thing is that I noticed there was a day when it was really cold. I noticed that even if you actually put something underneath, or even more than one top, and you just have it on top, you're still comfortable because the sleeves are quite wide and you can wear it with more than one layer underneath, and that's the best thing ever. So it's also worked from the top down, some short row shaping on the shoulders and a crew neck, and the neckline is double folded for maximum coziness, and the ribbing on the cuffs is also quite long and gives it that really cozy vibe, and it looks like this. So it's going to be coming next month, and I can't wait to share it with you. So going back to this inspiration from this top, I decided to work on a spring top. Okay, when I started working on it, I wanted to launch it in the fall, but then I wasn't making much progress, and I decided to put it on hold. So this is the pullover. It was inspired by that store-bought top. So with this one, I made this stripes a bit thicker because I figured the thin ones in these colors are going to look too busy. So I wanted less stripes in the garment, and it's V-neck, and it's got some thick ribbing at the bottom, and it's going to have the same thick ribbing on the sleeve cuffs. So the sleeves have got some very gradual decreases. I'm now working on the sleeves, so this one is going to be ready, I think, and launched late in March. So the sleeves are going to have some thick ribbing as well, and the short rows there on the shoulders. So when I was working on this, I wanted the stripes to be uneven. So unlike this one that it got even striping, because with the garter stitch, when I tried to do uneven striping, it looked too busy. So I wanted to make it even and just make sure that it just looks so mellow and relaxed without being too much. But on this one, the striping is uneven. So on the main color, there are a few more rounds than the contrast color, and it really works so well, and it makes the stripe look really good. So I've really enjoyed working on this. I'm now picking it back up because I wanted to finish on the much thicker projects that I was working on. So I still don't have a name for this, and I'm knitting it with Cowgirl Blues. And as I mentioned earlier, I was sponsored with this yarn by Bridget from Cowgirl Blues. It's so beautiful and really nice to work with. I love their yarns. Last year I designed a pullover with their decay weight yarn, so it was a great one to really work on, and I liked the crispness of the stitches you got from that yarn. I remember I mentioned that if, for instance, you're in South Africa and you want to do a project maybe that's knit with yarns like Brooklyn Tweed Upper, because that yarn is it's got this great structure and the stitches really pop and the stitch definition is amazing. If you want to work on a project by Brooklyn Tweed with their decay weight yarn, that's a great substitution. And I think you've got other great yarns that have got good definition out there. So if you want to substitute and you're in South Africa, Cowgirl Blues decay weight yarn is amazing when it comes to stitch definition. So I mentioned that, I think, when I was working on the Nandi pullover, and I'll mention it again now that that yarn is amazing. I would love to work with it again. I think for the pullover that I did, I had bought about 6 or 7 skeins, and I was able to knit and finish the project without any problems. So this is the pullover for the spring, and it still doesn't have a name. I'm going to think up a name. So the colors I used for this one are Sable, and this one is faded rose. So I had initially started working on an Intarsia Cardigan with this yarn, but it turned out not to be so, I don't know, it just wasn't giving me the right vibes. I'll just insert a photo of that on here. So I decided to use a different yarn for that particular project, and I'm so excited with how it's working up. So I'm using these yarns here. So this is African Expressions Harmony, and this color is 2081. This is black, like normal black yarn, and then the beige is 2029. So it's a black and beige cardigan. Some very basic Intarsia. I mean, if you want to experiment with Intarsia, this is the most basic you can actually do. So here's the pullover. Oh, sorry, I said pullover. It's a cardigan. So look at the back. It's these two colors, and they're joined here by twisting the yarns over each other when you get to the other color. So it's got this really neat, beautiful line. You can actually have it showing like this. It doesn't look so bad. And then the fronts are in opposite colors to the back. So you've got beige, black, and then beige and black, just like that. So for the sleeves, I'm probably going to do the opposite. I'll have a black sleeve on this side, so that when you're looking at the front, you're seeing the beige and the black sleeve. And on the other side, it's going to be black and a beige sleeve. So I'm making a little bit of some progress on this, and I was hoping to launch it in March, or well, I don't know if that's going to happen and I'll be able to get it tested before then. I was hoping to be done with it by the end of next week and have it ready for testing. I'm writing the pattern at the same time, so by the time it's done, I think it will be written, tech edited, and ready for testing, because I wanted to launch it before we get to the warmer weather pieces. So this is the Intarsia Cardigan. Still no name for it, but I'm so excited about it. So I'm planning to do some double knitted button bands to just give it that really classic look. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this one. It's a fun one to knit. I mean, even though it's stockinette stitch and it can be a bit tedious to work in stockinette stitch, one thing I've noticed is that because you keep working with different colors, somehow it tricks the brain into thinking that you're working on, you know, different projects or something. So it's fun to work around, and I haven't really felt bored whilst working on this cardigan. And then the next one that I have on my needles is this blouse. So it's going to be a button down blouse, like, you know, your regular formal blouses. I've just lost some stitches here, and this is some tiny little project worked on 3mm needles. So first of all, it's not as bad as it sounds. I mean, I thought knitting on 3mm needles was going to be quite a chore, but it's not. I'm really enjoying working on this. So okay, I've got the stitches back. So this is how the blouse looks like. I think when I did my last podcast, I hadn't really done much. So it's going to be like your typical button down blouse. As you can see, I did this double knitted band at the back. You know, you normally see that with blouses at the back. I don't know if it's for stability or just for decorative purposes, but either way, I did it and I put it there at the back, and I also put it here on the shoulders. Just after picking up the stitches, I did this double knitted band, and this is how it looks. So I think it will be easier to see this when it's done, because the yarn is quite drapey and it keeps flopping around. But basically this is what I'm working with, and I've made a little bit of progress. So what I'm doing, and I think it's really great when you're working on stockinette projects, every time I finish an inch, I put a marker. So it feels like I'm rewarding myself with an extra marker every time I finish an inch of knitting. So when I'm knitting, I'm no longer just targeting maybe 15 or 16 inches to finish the top. I'm targeting I think this is 1 inch is 9 rows here. So every time I finish 9 rows or 8, I just get to put on my marker. So it's really made knitting this so much easier. And like I mentioned, it's not really so difficult. I mean, 3mm needles, that's what you use for most camisoles if you want something that's really light. So that's what I've been using for this blouse. So it's going to have a collar and some buttons at the front and a little pocket. So it's going to look like your regular button-down blouse. So I'm using Myak baby yak, and this is 100% yak, and it's a lace weight yarn, and it's so soft. So the only challenge that I've had, okay, I won't really call it a challenge, but the only thing I've kind of struggled with was that the yarn breaks so easily. It's literally just by lightly tacking on it, it just breaks. But once the fabric is knitted, it feels very strong. It's not really fragile. And the other thing I've struggled with is carrying this project around. I think firstly because of the color, and secondly because of the amount of work that has gone into it. And I always, whenever I'm carrying a project outside of the house, it's usually something that I can afford to lose. But I can't afford to lose this one, so I don't carry it anyway. Even if it's quite small, I can even fit it in my sock knitting bag, project bag, and it fits just fine because it's really small. But I don't carry it around because I'm scared of losing it, and that's a lot of work, and the yarn is quite expensive. I ordered it from 2 different shops in the United States. I had to ship it, pay the taxes, a lot of taxes, so it was quite an investment. So I don't carry it around. I just use it. I just knit it at home. But I'm hoping to launch it maybe end of April or beginning of May, because it's not a winter garment as such. So I'm really pushing to make progress on this one soon. I'll just show you a couple of things that I need to finish before I can start on this. So I've been working on this coat. It has taken up all my time. That's why I have so many whips. I had reached a point where I had only about 3, but because of this coat, I've put a lot of things on hold, and it's taken over my life. So this coat is made with Kokon yarns. I posted about it on Instagram that I had to frog it and start afresh because I didn't like the size I had done and the neck shaping and everything, so I had to start afresh. Should have listened to my gut right from the start, but I didn't. I worked all the way to the end, and I had to rework it. And okay, I love cables, so I don't mind working on these cables, but I wish I had just done the right thing right from the start. So this is the cable pattern that I'm knitting. It's made with 2x2 ribbing, so it's, for the most part, you're just doing 2x2 ribbing, and then the cables are just, I think for each repeat you do cables on 2 rows, and for the rest of the pattern you're just knitting. So the challenge with this one that I've had is the grading. So for each size increment has about 40 stitches in between. So if, say, the smallest size is 100, the next one will be 140, 180, 220. So when I was looking at this pattern and grading it, I'll end up with about 5 sizes, 6 at the most. But the good thing is that it's a coat, and it being a coat means that the issues are less hectic than if it was a fitted garment. So one size will cater for quite a wide range of bust sizes. So it will still be size inclusive. It will cater for people right from about 26-inch bust up to about 66 or 70 inches. Either way, everybody's going to be fitted in, but the sizes are going to be fewer because of the large pattern repeat. Okay, the pattern repeat is not even 40 stitches, but because of the way the pattern is structured, I have to work in multiples of 40. So yeah, that's what's happening with this one. And then I've already made the sleeves because I wanted to make sure that I've got enough yarn for the length, for the entire length, because it ends somewhere just below the hip. And then the sleeves I worked in stockinette stitch because I wanted the cables to pop, and the best way to do that was to just tone down on the sleeves, and the sleeves have got a double cuff. So if you want to make a single cuff, that's fine. It's not really a requirement to make it double, but I wanted to give it that extra coziness since it's a coat. Okay, let's do it this way. So as you can see, this is how it's going to look, and it's going to be nice and cozy. And then now I'm working on the collar because I'm really almost done with this. I bound off at the bottom, it's done, and now I'm working on the collar. Unfortunately, the stitches are a bit scrunched up, so it's going to be a shawl collar. So I'm currently working on the short rows, so I'm still working and doing the short rows until I have that thickness that I want, and then I'll just work all the way down and finish the ribbing. So this coat is not going to have buttons because of the length. So like I mentioned, the length is right below the hip. Okay, below the hip. Am I making sense? Yeah, somewhere there it's right below your hips. So I thought adding buttons was going to be I don't know, I don't like buttoning down, whether it's cardigans or coats that are that long. So it's not going to have buttons, but it's going to have a belt. So I'm going to knit a double knitted belt that you can use on with the coat. So the yarn I'm using is Kokon Aran weight, and the color is Dune. I don't know if you can see it clearly. It's a very mild flat brown, and it really works very well for so many things because I've been thinking of all the items I can wear with this, and it blends with so many colors. I can wear it with red, I can wear it with denim, I can or even any blue dress or whatever. So it really works not just with black and white and the obvious colors, but it would work even with other colors that you can't even imagine. It can work with orange. So the color is really very neutral and very flat. It's not really those bright popping colors. So it really works with so many different outfit options. So I'm almost done with this. I really wanted to finish it today, but that's not going to happen. So I'll most likely finish it maybe in 2 days time because I have to do a very long belt in double knitting. So that's going to take a bit of some time. And this is going to launch on my birthday, so it's going to be coming out soon. The other item that's on my needles is a vest. So I think the last time I did a podcast, I only had the swatch done. So this is another cabled vest. It's got cables all over. It's like an all over cable thing. So unfortunately I can't really stretch it out and show it to you because I'm using slightly smaller needles than the circumference of the vest. I've found it works much easier that way when you're knitting. So this has got some really beautiful intricate cables. So these cables are much more easier than they look. At any given point you never cable more than 4 stitches, like ever. So it's very simple and easy to work. The other thing that I did with this one was to make sure that I do not work on the cables in the round because they are traveling cables. If you work them in the round, that means you still have to keep shifting the beginning of round point every time the cables travel in a certain direction. So what I did was to work the cables as if they are flat. So the pattern is going to be written in such a way that you work the pattern as if it's flat right from the beginning of round here, and you work the repeats up to a certain point, and then when you get to the second marker, which is the halfway mark, you repeat the same pattern that you did on the first side. So there's going to be this gap but it's so small you can't even tell when you're looking at the vest because it just keeps coming in and out, so it looks like part of the pattern, but basically it's me avoiding to move the beginning of round. For instance, let me bring this slightly closer. So if this was just continuous and this was my beginning of round, at some point as the cables shift, I would have to move the beginning of round to another point. As you can see, let's say I had it here, I would have to move it here and move it back and forth, so to keep the pattern continuous. But I decided to work it as if it's flat and just repeat the same pattern that I did for the front as for the back. So it's going to be written down and it's simpler than I'm actually explaining it, so you won't have any problems working on this. I'm still deciding whether I should do this as a v-neck or a crew neck. I'll just have to do a poll on Instagram and see what you all prefer. And then the last thing that's on my needles that's about to go into hibernation is a hat. I just started this simple hat pattern because at the time I didn't have anything to carry around and knit whenever I was going out. So I started this basic ribbed hat. It's folded over. I started with a provisional cast on, worked quite a bit of ribbing, folded it over, and now I'm working on the hat body because I just wanted the extra thick cuff. There's no reason really other than just wanting this extra thick cuff at the brim rather, so that when it's folded it's super warm and super thick. So this is just a basic hat. Just coasting along and knitting it without a pattern. So those are all the pieces that I have to finish and knit, and there's also a ton of things that I have to cast on, but I think I've just been held back by the coat. Once it's off my needles, it will be easy for me to finish a few things, because I need to finish the Intarsia project. Since it's not really a summer or spring item, I need to get it off my needles faster. And then I also have to finish the v-neck striped pullover and the vest. And I think that won't really take much time because the other one has got almost one sleeve done. I'm left with the second sleeve, and I think I need 2 repeats of the pattern here before doing the back and the front separately, and at that point there won't be much to do on this project. So I'll soon be starting on some spring items, because I was hoping to just really hanker down and finish all these items before the end of this month. Beginning of February, I'm working on some spring items. So these are the items I'll be working on. First of all, I've got Brooklyn tweed worsted. This is also some sponsored yarn. I've got about 12 of these, I think. So I'm going to knit a cropped item, a cropped cardigan. That's something that you can just throw over in the spring. It's going to be made with ribbing. I really am enjoying working with ribbing. In case you haven't noticed, I'm really loving 2x2 rib, and it's going to be some raglan and some ribbing and some really cute finishes to make it look very, very beautiful. So that's what I'll be casting on as soon as I'm done with this pile of items. So my hat is going into hibernation. You won't be seeing it anytime soon. I might continue working on it and I might not, but I think I won't. I'll just finish it later on when it's closer to winter. So this is the first one I'll be casting on. It's ribbed, so I'll be working on this project. And then the other one I'll be doing is actually a wrap cardigan. I've never done that one before, so I'll be working on a wrapped one. It's going to be also a bit cropped because I want to wear it with flat pants or dresses. I don't want it to be long. I think wrapped items look better when they are much shorter and not necessarily full length like the regular cardigans that we do. So it's going to be cropped and it's going to be knit in fisherman rib. And this is the yarn I'll be using. So I recently ordered some cones from African Expressions. It's 1 kg, so I've kind of started dipping on it. So this is the yarn. This is a dark gray. I think it's 2062. I'll have to check the color. Oh wait, yeah, it's 2062. So it's a dark gray corn. So I wanted to knit the wrap in a dark gray. I was picturing myself wearing it with some black. I've got quite a number of long black skirts or even black dresses that I would really love to wear with this, and maybe a white camisole underneath. So that was the idea when I was ordering this yarn. And then I also ordered this chestnut color here. I think it's 2027. So this one is going to be for a hoodie I'll do later on in the year. It will be coming out between September and October, but I've already ordered the yarn. It's 1 kg. And one thing I love about these corns is that I already know that I'll be able to finish my project, and it's going to have a hoodie. So it's plenty of yarn. It's enough for the project, quite large. But I don't know if I can knit direct from the corn. I don't know if people do knit from the corns. I've never used a corn before. So if you have, please let me know in the comments, because it really feels so weird to knit from something this large. Is it even doable? I mean, I can't imagine moving around in the house with this thing. But anyway, if you have worked with a corn before, please let me know how you've done it. And then, so the other project I'll be working on is it's a short sleeve top, and it's going to be knit with this Nurturing Fibres Super Twist sock, and the color is driftwood. So it's going to be a lace yoke, like almost like this one, but this is fingering weight, and it's also going to have these really short sleeves. So it's going to be a summer top, but I don't think it's going to be one of the first ones I'll be casting on, but I just had the yarn lying around. I figured I might as well talk about it. So this driftwood yarn is a grayish brown, and it's a really nice one too, and I'm looking forward to having this piece in my wardrobe. And then the other one that I'm super crazy excited about is this Cattail Silk by Purl Soho. This is also some sponsored yarn as well. As I mentioned earlier, that all the Purl Soho yarn that I've been using was gifted to me. So this is, I think it's a fingering weight, but it's going to be held double when I'm knitting it, and it's going to be a summer dress. Since it's 100% silk, it's something I'm super excited about. So it's quite a lot of yardage on this yarn. That's 618 yards, and I think it's 500 and something meters if you work with meters like me. And I've got 10 skeins, and I think that will be enough for the dress that I want to knit. It's going to be sleeveless, and it will have inset pockets on the side. So I'm so excited about it, even though I don't know how I'm going to do the pockets. I've never done the inset pockets, and the fact that they've got this really weird shape really makes it a bit of a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. So that's what I'm going to be doing soon. I need to cast this on next month, because if it's going to be out sometime in the summer, I have to test it and launch it. So I need to have it out maybe by June, beginning of June or end of May earliest. So I have to really crank on it and start working on it. So basically it seems like a lot of work to be working on a dress, and it's going to be maybe just below the knee. So it's not going to be a long one, unless if you want to make yours longer, you can just keep going until you get to the desired length. But I'm aiming for some length just below the knees. So it's almost going to be like working on two sweaters, really two DK weight sweaters, because once I've got this held double, it's going to be around DK weight. When I first swatched, I tried working with 4.5, but the fabric was too flimsy, so I'll probably work with 4mm needles. And it's like working on two DK weight sweaters, really. The only difference is you're getting a dress. So I'm really excited about this project. It's going to have some really cute little details that I hope you all enjoy. And then the last one that I will talk about in terms of future projects that are going to be landing on my needles soon is this Nurturing Fibres Eco Cotton, and the color is fawn. So with this one, I'm going to knit my very first 100% cotton pullover. So I don't have a pullover in 100% cotton, but I noticed that our climate requires it, and I think a lot of people that are in the warmer climates would really do well with such a pullover, because it gets a bit chilly in the summer, particularly here in South Africa. Our summers are hot and sometimes wet because that's when we get the rains the most. So I just want to make sure that I've got something that I can put on when it's slightly chilly because it just rained or it's about to rain, but I don't necessarily need a whole merino pullover to put on. So I'm working on this. It's going to have a bit of some lace and maybe some textured stitches. I'm not so sure what I'm going to do, but I'm really excited about this one because I'll have something that I really currently need in my wardrobe, and it's going to be in one of the most neutral colors and most likely will blend with everything in my wardrobe. So that's the other piece that will be on my needles maybe beginning of March. And then the other things that I have purchased since I was last here that I'm using for my knitting that are not necessarily yarn or yarns or knitting supplies. I bought this light. It's coming so handy. What's it called? It's called Glocuscent. I've never even bothered to check the name. I ordered mine on Amazon, but for those that are in South Africa, it's also available at Tech a Lot. So it's a neck light. You can wear it maybe this way if you want to see that way, but mostly I use it facing down when I'm knitting. As you've noticed, I've got quite a lot of darker projects. I've been working on this, and I've been working on the Intarsia Pullover that has been using some black yarn, and the other one that was using some navy blue yarn, and I mentioned the hat. So I've got quite a number of dark projects that I've been working on, and this light has come in really handy. So this is how it works. I don't want to flash your eyes there. So it really works very well, and I've been loving it. And for those who know, here in South Africa, we've had a bit of some problems with power cuts and load shedding, so it doesn't really affect me anymore when I'm working in the evening. And then the other thing that I ordered not so long ago, I've been using it for the past few weeks, is this weekly planner from Poetry. So I've been using this to just have a quick plan on what I'm going to be doing for the week and be able to easily check what's happening. So I've really been struggling with overworking myself and putting on so much in my plate, but now not now, I think I started late last year. I decided to just have 3 tasks to do on a given day, and if it's pattern writing, it's only 1 task. I don't do something else when there's pattern writing or video recording like today, or when I'm going for a photo shoot. So those really time consuming things, they are the only one that are going to be on my calendar for the day. If it's photo shoot, I just put photo shoot and I don't add any other admin things. Fine, there's always stuff that you have to do, like some emails that you need to urgently respond to, but they don't normally take time. And mostly when I'm communicating with testers, so I try by all means to communicate with testers twice a day, because I don't want to waste anybody's time whilst they're helping me test the pattern. So those are the only people that I respond to, even on weekends, because I know that if someone is free and they're testing for me, that means they have more time on a weekend. If they're stuck somewhere, I have to get back to them so they can keep moving. So other than the testing and those rare urgent emails, I try by all means to just have 3 items in my itinerary on any given day, and that has helped with productivity quite a lot, because tackling 3 items is much easier than what I used to do by just writing 10-15 things on a day, and if you don't get through to them, you just start feeling crappy that you didn't finish everything that was supposed to be done. So what I do now is just 3 items a day, and that's it. Even if it's simple things like responding to some emails, or maybe cross-checking a pattern that's going to be launched, or editing some photos for social media, that's it. As long as 3 items, I realize that I actually get things done, and this has come in very handy. I've had this for almost 2 months now, so I've been using it quite a bit, and it's really helped me a lot with my planning for the week. And I'll just have to order another one, I think, because I'll be finishing this one, I think maybe by July. I seem to be using it quite a bit. So that's all that I had in terms of stuff that I'll be working on and stuff that I've done. I'm hoping to record the next video soon. So it's really difficult nowadays to make commitments because we keep having these colds that just pop up out of nowhere, and you get sick for a couple of days and it derails everything. But I'm hoping to share the next batch of projects that I'll be working on. I've already got a couple of things on my needles that I didn't bring here today because it's summer items that I didn't finish last year that I'll be picking up and finishing sometime from March or April. So I didn't see the point in showing them now because I'm not working on them at the moment, but I'll be showing them soon when I get closer to working on them. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.